13-year-old black kid shocks judge with legal argument. The courtroom falls silent. The air in the courtroom was thick, heavy with the weight of unspoken biases and the hum of a small town's divided heart. 13-year-old Marcus Tate stood at the defendant's table, his hands trembling but his gaze steady. He was just a kid-skin dark as midnight, clothes slightly oversized from his older brother's closet, but today, he carried the weight of something far bigger than himself. Accused of stealing a $200 watch from a local jewelry store, Marcus faced not just a judge but the silent jury of a community quick to label him guilty. The prosecutor, a wiry man named Harold Grayson, leaned forward with a smirk. "This boy," he said, voice dripping with condescension, "thought he could walk into a respectable business, take what wasn't his, and stroll out like he owned the place." The words stung, not just Marcus but his mother, Lena, who sat in the gallery, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles paled. She'd worked 2 jobs to keep Marcus in school, to keep him away from the streets that claimed so many. Now her boy was on trial, and the town of Black Harbor seemed ready to bury him. Marcus's public defender, Ms. Carter, was earnest but out of her depth. She'd prepared a standard defense, arguing lack of evidencia, blurry security tape, no fingerprints, no witnesses who could place the watch in Marcus's hands. But as Grayson painted Marcus as a thief, a troubled youth, something in the boy shifted. He whispered to Ms. Carter, his voice urgent. She hesitated, then nodded, stepping back as Marcus rose to speak. "Your Honor," Marcus began, his voice cracking but clear, "I didn't steal that watch, but this isn't just about a watch. It's about why I'm here." The courtroom stilled. Judge Evelyn Hart, a woman known for her no-nonsense rulings, raised an eyebrow but didn't stop him. Marcus took a breath, his eyes scanning the room, some faces curious, others hostile. "I was in that store to buy a gift for my brother, who's deploying next month. I had $50 saved up, but the owner followed me, watched me like I was already guilty. When I left, he called the cops. No proof, just me." The crowd murmured. Grayson scoffed, but Marcus pressed on, his voice growing bolder. "I read the law, Your Honor. I learned it from library books. The Fourth Amendment says you need probable cause to search or arrest someone. They didn't have it. They just saw a black kid and decided I was trouble." His words landed like a thunderclap. A few jurors shifted uncomfortably. Lena's eyes, wide with pride and fear, gripped the bench. Grayson leapt up. "This is absurd. A child lecturing this court." But Judge Hart raised a hand, silencing him. "Let the boy finish," she said, her voice unreadable. Marcus swallowed, his heart pounding. "I'm not just fighting for me," he said. "I'm fighting for every kid who's judged before they even get a chance. If you convict me today, you're saying it's okay to assume I'm guilty, because of how I look." The room was silent, the kind of silence that presses against your chest. Then, a new voice broke through. "He's telling the truth." All eyes turned to an older boy, Tommy Reed, the jewelry store owner's son, standing in the back. He was white, lanky, with a nervous flush on his cheeks. "I saw what happened," Tommy said, his voice shaking. "My dad, he profiled Marcus. There was no theft. I found the watch in the back room yesterday, misplaced. But my dad didn't want to admit he was wrong." The gallery gasped. Grayson's face reddened. He sputtered objections. But the judge's gavel cracked like lightning. Tommy's confession was the twist no one expected. He'd been invisible in the town's drama. A kid who kept his head down, loyal to his father. But watching Marcus, something had stirred in him, a flicker of courage, a realization that silence was a choice, and a costly one. His words shifted the room's energy, exposing the raw truth. Marcus wasn't just fighting a charge. He was fighting a system, a mindset, that had already convicted him. Judge Hart called a recess, her expression unreadable, but her eyes lingered on Marcus. In the hallway, Lena hugged her son fiercely, tears streaming. "You did it, baby," she whispered, but Marcus shook his head. "It's not over, Ma. They still gotta decide." Back in session, the judge delivered her ruling. "This court finds insufficient evidence to convict Marcus Tate," she said, her voice steady but weighted. "But more than that, this case exposes a deeper issue." "Young man," she addressed Marcus directly, "your argument was compelling. You've reminded us that justice demands scrutiny, not assumption." She paused, then added, "Mr. Reed, your son's testimony took courage too. This court thanks you." The gallery erupted. Some cheered, others muttered in dissent. Marcus exhaled, his shoulders sagging as the weight of weeks lifted. Tommy caught his eye from across the room and gave a small, awkward nod. Marcus nodded back. It wasn't friendship, not yet, but it was a start. As the crowd dispersed, Marcus and Lena walked out into the fading light of Black Harbor. The town would talk for years about the boy who'd stunned a judge, the kid who'd held a mirror to their prejudices. Some would change, others would cling to old ways. But Marcus knew one thing. He'd spoken his truth, and it had cracked the wall of injustice, if only a little. That night, as he sat on his porch, Marcus thought about Tommy, the white kid who'd risked his family's name to do right. He thought about the judge who'd listened when she could have dismissed him. And he thought about Lena, who'd never stopped believing. The fight wasn't over. Racism's roots ran deep, but Marcus felt a spark of hope. If a kid like him could silence a courtroom, maybe, just maybe, he could help change the world. What do you think? Was Marcus's fight about justice, or was it about something even bigger? Share your thoughts on what fairness means in a divided community.